can't stop talking about freedom. So my name is Bethan Nodwell. I am part of Freedom Fighters Canada. I was involved in the Freedom Convoy in Canada. I was the MC on the stage, events coordinator, and since Ottawa, the snowball has just kept rolling down the hill and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Here we are at a huge freedom conference. So the speed has been picking up.
In New Zealand, we were told that the Ottawa protest was influenced by big American money and there was like all these alternate reasons why it happened. Why did the Ottawa convoy happen from your perspective, being the MC?
First of all, I wish we never saw a red cent of it. Everyone I knew who was involved was investing their own money, their own savings, like everything that they had to make the Freedom Convoy work. But why did the Freedom Convoy happen? Is because we were finished with the mandates, and I think it was a vote of non-confidence for Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau. It was a vote of non-confidence by the people. That's how that happened. And it just, it snowballed, it got out of control. It's great.
How did you guys manage to organize such a big protest?
You know, I don't think it was organized. We knew that trucks were coming. All we heard was trucks were coming, and we didn't know how many, and we didn't know how to prepare. We just had all these people I can make sandwiches, and I can do laundry, and everybody was all hands on deck, and how can we help? So that was a huge part of its success. You know, I don't know if we could ever recreate something like that because it was so organic. Right? It just sort of bubbled up to the top, and then everybody was like, how can I help? And then you turned around and you were surrounded by hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people. And then the cat was out of the bag. We were no longer alone. We were no longer a minority, and we were unstoppable from that point forward.
How did the media describe the protesters in Canada?
Well, it's like the classic, right? We're far-right extremists. Justin Trudeau called us a small fringe minority with unacceptable views. And so, and the media was like, oh, they're small fringe. But when I was looking around, I'm like, there's nothing small about this. And I've actually never been in a crowd this big, even at a football game in the United States. I've never seen this many people. So we're not a minority, we're not fringe, because there were moms pushing their little kids in the baby carriages through the snowbanks, and all the demographic representations of Canada was there. Little people, old people, all the different multiracial, we had everything. We were all there saying we are done with these mandates. So I think that we were terrified into thinking that we were alone, and we discovered through this that we are so not alone, and we've been lied to.
What do you think people need to do to create change back in Canada?
I think we have to continue pushing and work cooperatively together. I think it's very difficult. All organizations and movements have the issue of infighting and maybe a bit of paranoia. Are you a plant, Chantal?
I've heard that a few times.
Exactly. So there's a level of paranoia. There's a level of just general criticism, discontent, and so it's part of how movements fall apart. But I think that until we get the final result, which is ultimately the eviction of Trudeau, he's got to go, and a change of government will do us well, but also that this can never happen again. You'll never be able to force vaccinate people to keep their employment or to keep their education so that they can continue going to school. Like that, we have to absolutely put things in place that this will never happen again. So we still have work to do, but you can see that the people who created the mandates are starting to back up the bus.
And what has been your contribution to change in your country?
I can't stop talking about freedom. My contribution is I think to remain positive about what we're doing here, because it feels overwhelming, and sometimes when you're by yourself alone with your thoughts, you feel like you might be losing. But then you come to an event such as this and you're like, no, we're winning. Freedom Convoy taught me we are winning. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And like, things didn't happen to us all in one night, and we're not going to be able to undo it in one night. But we are putting, globalist governments into retreat. So my contribution is on a level to cheerlead, support, and keep reminding people that we've got this, and we're not going to lose. We are winning.
And when it comes to media in Canada, do you think all media is bad, or do you just think there's a few bad eggs?
I think in Canada, it's almost like an experiment. We have particularly corrupt mainstream media, and there's probably a few individual journalists who are bamboozled by what's happened to their profession. But I think that what we've seen over the past few years is this incredible development of new talent in independent media. Our independent media is growing stronger and stronger and stronger, but the independent media are always having to contend with censorship from the technocracy. So if YouTube or Twitter or Facebook algorithms and their censorship got out of the way, I think, through a level of like Darwinism, the greatest would rise to the top, and there would be real contenders for the mainstream media. So it's growing. If they were allowed to grow, like, it would grow exponentially. But you know what they're doing. They're doing those little tricks.
What did you get out of the Better Way conference? What was your learning or defining moment of the conference?
Like, there are all these, MD celebrities and, persons such as yourself, from New Zealand, and all these, ultimately that we are all in this together. We all have questions. We're all human and faulted, but that together with the hive mind, with the bigger group's intelligence, you're intelligent, I'm intelligent, he's intelligent. But when you put all of those brains together, this is how we win. So what I get from this Better Way conference is winning strategies to get out of this globalist nightmare.